So I think one thing that's clear with anyone who spends about 30 seconds with KT is he has a pretty relentless curiosity and a relentless sense of energy.
You know, the University of Denver Bridge Builders has its center of connecting people, where if you pull one thread here, you know that you're lifting other people up. If you pull a thread here, you're lifting these people up. And that sort of connectivity is what Kent is an expert at. It's what comes natural.
He insisted that I come to a couple of DaVita events and that I really experience the culture there and see the theatrics and the excitement that was created and the focus on citizenship. And that, you know, they compensate employees if they're actually doing more for their community. They get recognized, they get rewarded. And I saw this firsthand and the impact of that on the culture, how everyone who worked for DaVita really looked at what they were doing as improving the world.
I met Kent several years ago when I came to Congress. I was very concerned about health care, and he's been my friend ever since. He's a wonderful human being, gifted, smart. He knows how to build bridges.
We believe very strongly that if you believe in a community, you must necessarily believe in all community. But the more you do for your people, the more you do for your environment, probably the more successful you'll be as a business person as well. So we very much encourage the teammates of DaVita, the citizens of the DaVita Village, to volunteer. One is a group called Angel Heart, which takes care of providing food to people who are not able to get it for themselves and in some cases not feed themselves.
He obviously puts a huge emphasis on culture. He has at DaVita. He does in everything he does in a people sense of engagement, of being able to pull the very best out of those people, to lifting them up, to minimize their weaknesses. And he does it by getting on the ground and being with them.
That emphasis on citizenship, more than just being a resident, is part of what makes a great, great partner in the community.
Kent and DaVita have been a role model for our students and students elsewhere in illustrating how companies can really be a formidable force for good of their employees without ignoring their shareholders. I have never met a leader that is as intentional and reflective and committed and passionate to the mission that he and the teammates at DaVita have.
From the very beginning, he said, anything that we can do in DaVita to help the Denver Public Schools, please ask. And we didn't hesitate. How could we adapt to have the best possible leadership program in the Denver Public Schools?
I said, okay, here's the kind of commitments you're going to have to make, or we're not even going to try, because this is hard stuff.
I've heard just from hundreds and hundreds of our school leaders that the leadership development programs that we are offering are the most meaningful professional growth opportunities that they've ever had.
You know, it's one of the funny things is that when DaVita first came, international expansion wasn't the top thing on their agenda. But really over the last 3 or 4 years, they are expanding all over the world.
Our Bridge of Life program now is up to about 90 medical missions, probably in 27 different countries. So the breadth and the depth are quite striking. And so we've started acting like us, the DaVita Village, everywhere. In fact, what we're talking about are not so much DaVita values or American values, but universal values around respect, around affection, around caring about the long term.
I think what's so powerful about his leadership is that what he's done here is not confined to DaVita, it's not confined to the United States, but he's really striven for what are the universal values that people from all cultures, all parts of the world care about. They're enormously human values.
He's always looking around him to lift up not just the individuals he's interacting with, but that broader community, knowing that that is the real way you change the course of history. That is the real way you change the course of humanity.
Kent, through your passion, your principled leadership, and your dedication to building strong communities, we see what is possible. And more than that, what is essential to living well and living purposefully. On behalf of the Josef Korbel School of International Studies and the University of Denver, thank you for the tremendous impact you and the citizens of the DaVita Village have had in our city and around the world.